This is Sean with Gate City Foundation Drainage, and I'm making this video today to show you this new pickup truck that I bought. So this is the truck that I have had. I bought this truck in 2009, and that was back when gas prices were going really crazy. And so I did not set out to get an F-250. I was looking for an F-150, but the 250s were going for so cheap because gas prices were so high that I ended up with this truck. And so this has been a fantastic truck. I've taken this all over the place and never had any problems with it. But the problem I have with it now is I'm just towing too much stuff. And so it's a little bit too small. And for what it is, it really needs to be a 350. And because this is more of a street truck, because it's a four-wheel drive, I wanted that if I replace this with an F350. And so I've been looking for a little while at getting an F350 to replace this 250. And you know, I really hate to sell this truck, but it's not really doing anything for me. And so I'm looking for an F350. So this is the ad that I found. I found this truck on Facebook, and it was maybe about an hour and 10 minutes away from me. So you can see it here. It had been listed for, I think, probably about a month or so by the time I found it. And so I asked the guy if he had the original wheels on it, and he said he did have the original wheels. And so I ended up going down there like on real late at night, and my buddy Mike went with me. And the seller ended up, they couldn't get these aftermarket wheels off. And so what ended up happening is they were so completely frustrated with trying to get these wheels off because they were just jammed on there. They would not slide off, that they just let me have them for a very small amount of money. So me and Mike drove the truck back and got the factory wheels, and we got these aftermarket wheels. And so I took my Saturn, the one that has the tow bar on it, so we drove up in the Saturn, and then we hooked the Saturn onto the truck and then rode in the truck back. So it worked out pretty well going late at night, and kind of spur of the moment when they didn't have those wheels off yet. Worked out well for me. Alright, so here is the truck that I found. So this truck is a few years older than my F-250, and this is a diesel. I was really looking at the V10s, but they're just really hard to find, and so I ended up with this one. This is a 2003, it has 200,000 on it, and it's got the 6.0 in it. And so the nice thing about this one is it's a Lariat, and it doesn't really seem to have been too used up as a work truck, beat up as a work truck. So I was able to get the factory wheels with it, so I got to get rid of these things. So let's get those off there real quick and see how we do. So they've got these spikes on them, which is why you need this long thing. Alright, here are I guess the aftermarket tires or wheels that came with it. And these things are really heavy compared to the stock ones. The stock ones are 16-inch wheels, and these that came on it are 19.5-inch. And these are they're probably twice the weight of these other wheels. But before I get these on, I just noticed that my brake pads are a little bit getting low there. So let me see if I can get those replaced real quick. I've got the caliper off and I'm ready to push the pistons back in, but before I can do that, you want to come over here and open up the brake reservoir so you have space. So you see how full that is? That's why you're not supposed to top these things off, because now it's going to overflow when I push in on this piston. Take a look at the difference in the pads here. So these pads still had a little bit of life left on them, but if you've got the wheels off and you're working on this truck, you might as well put some new pads on it. Always make sure to get the most expensive pads that they have. Don't get cheap pads, because you only want to do this once. One of the reasons the previous owners got those aftermarket wheels is because this truck had a flat tire on it. So the aluminum rim is up under the truck as the spare, and the spare, which is just an old rusty rim, is on the back here. And so you see that right there. And so I've kind of been thinking about getting some new tires for this truck. It's got decent tires, they're just really old. So I may get some new tires for it too. Before I start on this other side, I want to get some of this fluid out of here. Before I put these stock wheels back on, I wanted to see if I could polish them up a little bit. So this is a mini Powerball, and there's a cone precision polisher, and I've got some mag and aluminum polish here, so we're going to see if this will do anything. Alright, now this thing is starting to look like a respectable pickup truck. Okay, so here's the situation. I just showed you this belt that's super loose right here, and so the seller was telling me about it. He said it needs a new belt, blah blah blah. But if you look at this thing, and I've messed with it for a minute, the tensioner doesn't seem to be producing any tension. And this particular tensioner has this little release here, so this locks it in the open position, and then you turn it down and it pops open. And I've messed with this thing and messed with it, and I can't get it to move. So I think I'm gonna just replace it. So this guy just came in the mail. So if I can get this on really quickly here, I can go get this truck inspected and get some tags on this thing and get using it this weekend. So I'm gonna try to hustle and get this on real quick. All right, so my two tools of choice here, I have a 10mm 6-point. These will break the bolts, and then I have a gear wrench ratcheting 10mm to remove them. All right, take a look at this. This is broken, this retaining pin right there. So maybe this wasn't working right. Just looking at that, it looks like it's in a locked position. So that's good news that this is the actual problem here. So let's get this new one in here. The reason I hit the starter real quick is I want to check back here and make sure that the belt is still on. So you hit the starter real quick and it spins the belt, and then you check to make sure it's still on there and not screwed up. Alright, that tensioner was the problem. Man, what a mess. My old truck had a Weatherguard toolbox on it when I first bought it. And so this new truck didn't have a toolbox on it, so I went ahead and ordered one right away. And so I was over here at the terminal picking it up with my F-150. And I went with a smooth black toolbox instead of the diamond plate. So I think I like it so far. I get these recovery straps from Northern Tool when they send me the coupons and whatnot. So these are always good to have in any pickup truck. I need to go finish a job real quickly, and I need my mini skid steer. So I'm going to hook on to this dump trailer. This will be the first time I've hooked onto it with my new pickup truck. And I wanted to show you really quickly, this is one of those adjustable hitches, bulletproof hitches. So we're going to see how this does. I moved my 2-inch trailer about maybe 200 feet. And so that's what the ball looks like after 200 feet of towing. So we'll see what this ball looks like. Okay, anytime you're hooking up a trailer, you got 5 things. Make sure your pin is in. Make sure your 2 chains are on. Make sure your electrical's hooked up. Make sure your jack is all the way up. So that looks pretty good. I think we're ready to roll. as far as straps go, when you buy these things, they are 27 feet long, and I just never need 27 feet of strap. So these came from Northern Tool. So what I end up doing with these is I just cut them down to whatever I need. The dump trailer and the mini Bobcat was about 7,000 pounds. The truck did great pulling it. It rained pretty good last night, and this happened. So it looks like that branch fell. This tree right here has been on my radar. So you can see that it's dead, and it looks like it's dropping limbs on my stuff here. So let's see if we can get that taken care of. Here I'm getting the excavator into position, so I like to square up on the tree and get my boom up pretty high, and then I also like to put my blade down on the back side there so I can push against it. This tree was leaning pretty hard toward my driveway, and so I've got the excavator there pushed up against it. I'm over here cutting a notch in it, and it was really windy too, so you'll see that in a second, but might not have been the best time to be cutting a tree down. But I cut the notch in this thing and then try pushing on it with the excavator and see what happens, and then I start cutting into my holding wood. I just opened up this kerf a little bit by pushing on the tree, but there was still a bit of holding wood in there, and I like to push this thing over in a really controlled way. And so you can direct the way the tree is going to go by how you cut your holding wood, but I'm not that good at it, so I usually cut the holding wood pretty straight and then just push it over, which is what I did here. Alright, that was a pretty big tree. A little bit nerve-wracking. But you can see that one branch split pretty good right there. That was an old oak. And I noticed it did last year, but hadn't taken care of it yet. So you can see my holding wood here. I cut into it, and then my holding wood was what was holding the tree up, and then I got back off the saw and back onto the excavator and pushed it over the final amount with the excavator in a very controlled way. So it did pretty good, but it was kind of leaning the wrong way pretty hard. So happy to get that done. So it looks like that branch struck right there, and I don't think it did any actual damage to it. So I'm excited about that. So this truck did come with a gooseneck hitch, and I've never used a gooseneck before, so I don't know if I ever will or not, but I was messing with this and it was kind of locked in place, but that's how that works. That pulls right out of there, and so that hides away. So I'm going to keep this in the truck, and if I ever do get a gooseneck or need to pull a gooseneck, I guess I can. Ever since I put those factory tires and wheels back on, the truck vibrates a little bit more than it should at high speeds. So I think either the tires need to be rebalanced or they need to be replaced. One of the factory tires had gone flat, and so the previous owner had the spare on the truck, and one of the aluminum rims was up under the truck with that plugged tire. So the guys over at Discount Tire were able to get that swapped back on for me, and so we got the original steel spare back up under the truck. And usually you wouldn't have a spare on a dually, but since this is a pickup truck, it does have one. I just got those new tires put on, and I'm out on the highway now, and this thing is a lot smoother. So there I'm going 75, and I don't have that rattling going on anymore with the headrest, so the truck's not rattling around anymore. It's got good power, it's smooth. So those other tires may have just been out of balance, but for getting a new pickup truck, you might as well get some new tires on it. So that's what I did. I guess I'll go ahead and end this video here. I just got these new tires put on this thing, and it does ride a lot better. So the old ones were in fairly good shape, but I like to put new tires on when I get a new vehicle, so I'll probably throw these up on Marketplace or offer up and sell them cheap. But so far I've been very, very happy with this little truck, and it's been towing this excavator really well, and it's been towing my dump trailer really well. So overall I think it was a big improvement upon my old F-250,